Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. We'll discuss today the brainstem. The brainstem consists of three parts, from inferior to superior, medulla oblongata, pons, and midbrain. The brainstem serves as conduct for ascending and descending tract. So the ascending and the descending tract located in the brainstem to reach their destination. It contains important reflexes such as respiratory center, cardiovascular center, and reticular formation, which is responsible for consciousness. The brainstem contains the nuclei of the cranial nerve from the 3rd to 12th. Medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata, it connects the bones with spinal cord. The lower part of the medulla oblongata passes through the foramen magnum, where it becomes continuous with the spinal cord. The lower half of the medulla oblongata, known as closed medulla, because it contains the central canal, while the upper half of medulla oblongata, known as open medulla, because it is related to the fourth ventricle. Known as underlining the Pons and data. Here, structure which two root colliculus. This facial colliculus formed by the abducens nucleus and the axon of facial nerve. This sulcus known as sulcus limites and this area known as vestibular area. Again, median sulcus, medial eminence, facial colliculus, sulcus limites, and vestibular area. This is the posterior surface of the Pons. Transverse section of the Pons We can divide the bones into two parts, basilar part and tegmentum part. The basilar part is the anterior part and the tegmentum is dorsal part. The content of the basilar part of the bones are similar in the two sections. We divide the bones, we discuss the structure of the bones into two levels, cranial and caudal. The structure are similar in the cranial and caudal. The basilar part contain small nuclei or neuron known as pontine nuclei. These pontine nuclei receive the corticopontine fiber and send information through transfer pontine fiber to the cerebellum. So, from the cortex to the pons and from the pons to the cerebellum, this information. The information passed from the cortex to the pontine nuclei through the corticopontine fiber, and from the pontine nuclei to the cerebellum through the transfer pontine fiber. What else? These are the bundle of corticospinal or corticonuclear. So, the content of the basilar part of the bones are bundle of corticospinal and corticonuclear, pontine nuclei, and transfer pontine fiber. The trigeminal nuclei are four nuclei. Motor nucleus, which is located in the bones. Sensory nucleus, main sensory nucleus or principal nucleus, also located in the bones. Spinal nucleus, located in the medulla oblongata and the upper part of the bones. Mesencephalic nucleus, located in the midbrain. The motor nucleus supplies the muscle developed from the first pharyngeal arch. Main sensory nucleus receives the sensation from the head and face concerned with touch, crude touch. Spinal nucleus receive the sensation concerned with pain and temperature. Mesencephalic nucleus receive the sensation concerned with proprioceptive sensation. Here you can see the motor and sensory nucleus of motor and sensory nucleus. This is the motor and sensory nucleus of trigeminal nerve. In the transverse section of the pons at the lower part, you can see this is facial nucleus. Facial nucleus supplies the muscle developed from the Second pharyngeal arch includes the muscle of facial expression, posterior belly of digastric stylohyoid, stapedius muscle. This facial nucleus, the axon of the nucleus, wind around the obtuse nucleus to form elevation here in the posterior aspect of the pons known as facial colliculus. Obtuse is the obtuse nucleus. Obtuse nucleus supplies the CUP, the lateral rectus muscle. In this level, in the lower part here, you can see the spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve. In the midline here, and in the anterior part of tegmentum, you see the trapezoid body. Trapezoid body form part of cochlear pathway. The tract, when it ascends up in the bones, it forms lemniscus. The medial lemniscus is a part of posterior column tract, so it carries proprioceptive sensation and fine touch from the opposite side of the body. Lateral lemniscus, which is a part of auditory pathway. Trigeminal lemniscus, which convey sensation regarding the pain, temperature, touch, proprioceptive sensation from the face, from the head and face. Spinothalamic or spinal lemniscus conveys the pain, temperature, touch from contralateral part of the body. The medial longitudinal fasciculus, this one. This one. Medial longitudinal fasciculus. The medial longitudinal fasciculus connects the third, fourth, and sixth cranial nerve with vestibulocochlear nuclei. Let's move to the midbrain. Midbrain is the upper part of the pons, the upper part of the brainstem. It connects the pons and cerebellum with cerebrum. It has a cavity known as cerebral aqueduct. So the cavity is located in the medulla oblongata are two, fourth ventricle and central canal. Also the fourth ventricle related to the pons. So here in the midbrain there is a cavity known as cerebral aqueduct. The anterior surface of the pons, you can see these are two cerebral peduncle. Cerebral peduncle. Between them there is inter- interpendicular fossa. The floor of interpendicular fossa has all known as and posterior perforating substance. From the posterior perforated substance emerge nerve is oculomotor nerve. So the feature in the anterior aspect of the midbrain include interpendicular fossa, posterior perforated substance, and oculomotor nerve.